Welcome to the Roundtable. I am Jennifer Eller, and my co-host with me is Mike Hill, and then our producer behind the screen, Nick Wilson. But our guest today is the lovely Bonita Price.
Yay!
You are lovely, Bonita. We're so excited to have you today.
Thank you.
And she just came from working out,
She
which
did.
is seriously
Tough.
impressive.
Yes.
Yeah, she's out there busting a move, and then
Yes,
she
I was.
comes in here and ready to go on a podcast.
Got my nerves out.
There you go. Nothing to be nervous about. So, yeah. So you were a teacher. How many years did you teach?
I taught 38 years, and then I substituted for 2 or 3 years, and then I opened up my own preschool and daycare.
Okay. Wow.
And then my mom and dad got sick, and I had to quit because I had to be free to take care of them.
38 years
I loved it.
around here?
I started in Georgia, and there wasn't any jobs here in Huntington. So I went with 11 other people from Huntington University. Well, it was Huntington College when I went there. Huntington University. Yeah. Went down there, and we all got jobs. We could pick the job we wanted, Dalton, Georgia. And so then my best friend's father passed away, and I got worried about my dad. And I met Byron, and so we moved back. Well, actually, he moved back and lived with my mom and dad while I finished the year out.
Oh, my.
And my dad did not like Byron.
Why not? Why not?
Because he thought he was going to take me to South and stay there.
Because he's from the South?
Byron's a Southern man, yeah.
Okay.
Mississippi, yeah.
Wow.
So then he moved back here for you because
Yeah,
you wanted
lived with my parents during tax season. And my dad finally fell in love with my husband. And if anything had happened in our marriage, I would have been at fault then because he thought Byron was,
Byron flipped the script.
yeah, he did.
Oh,
So
that's wonderful.
So after you went, so you were in Georgia, and when you came back up here, where'd you teach?
I substituted for a time. Then I taught it. I got a job at Andrews.
Oh, okay.
Loved Andrews. And then I moved to Central and Flint Springs for
Okay.
the rest of my time. But I never had a bad class the whole
What?
time. Not one bad class.
Oh my God.
I had some
That
ornery
has to
ones.
be a perspective.
I had ornery ones, but I never had a bad class and never really had a bad kid.
What would determine that, though? Like, you need to give us the lens of what determines a bad kid and a bad class.
I had a teacher that looked at me and she said, "I've never had a good class." And I thought, dang, you need to get out of the education.
Or change your perspective.
Yeah. I think you have to go in with the right mind. They're kids. They're going to do things that's not right.
Yeah.
And you just love them and teach them. I don't like the way education is going right now. So I think they've gotten away from knowing the kids. It's all computers and paper and pencil. And I think there's multiple intelligences, and they're not. That's what you. I mean, I taught kids who became doctors, lawyers, ministers,
Yeah.
teachers, principals, a lot of chefs. Got a lot of
Chefs?
I cooked a lot in my classroom, so maybe that helped. But I think you could be art smart, nature smart, exercise smart, book, math, computer. There's so many ways instead of one way. And I think we're going to teaching the lessons are script. Wrong. Wrong. You got to get in there and get to know the kids. And it's different now because I used to take the kids home to supper. My husband got to know the kids. My kids got to know the kids.
Right.
I'd keep them after school and just open up my closet and say, go in, get anything out that you'd like to play with or do. We'd have pizza. I got to know the kids.
Now, wait a second. So you invited kids from the school to come to your house.
Yeah, you can't do that anymore.
Why not? I mean, is it like a rule, or is it just people won't do it anymore?
I don't think people want to do it anymore because of lawsuits and things like that. But I did think about that. We had fun. I got to know the kids. I took one class, kindergarten, then I took them to first grade, and I took them to second grade. And in the summertime, we go on trips. They could pick either going to Science Central, the zoo, somewhere else we went. And then they'd have lunch with me. Parents didn't care. They loved it.
Right.
And we used to get together. That group that I had for 3 years, we're really close. So, yeah, it was
So
fun.
do you talk to anybody that's a teacher today? Do you think that they have bad classes and bad kids? Like, has that changed?
It's
Do you
different.
think that the culture of school has changed?
I think that it's hard. It's hard right now because kids say anything they want to say sometimes. And I don't think, and that didn't happen when I taught. It just didn't happen.
Right.
I think we need to work more with the parents. I think we need parent classes. I think parents don't know what to do with kids sometimes.
So you think so you do think that it's shifted. So you do think that there probably is a reality, because my daughter's a teacher, so that's, I hear
What did
things.
she teach?
Huh?
What did she teach?
She's a first grade teacher up in Warsaw. And so now she's doing the Duolingo program. And so, again, I'm going to say this, and I'm probably going to get in trouble, but like up there, if you're a certain group of parents, you can get your kids into, like, the good kids are in the Duolingo program. And then all of the not so good kids are in the general populace of first grade. So when she was not in the Duolingo program, she had kids that were like wanting to, like, they had a hit list of kids in the first grade, and they were going to go out there, and they actually did it. They took a kid, put him to the ground, stomped him. They had to call people in. Like, they beat this kid to a pulp out at the playground in first grade. And Lexi asked him, like, what are you doing? He's like, he was on the hit list and we were going to kill him. Like, this is in Warsaw.
Oh, man.
But now that she's in the Duolingo program, you don't have that problem because of the separation now of, like, you've taken, and again, I'm going to say good and bad kids. I don't know how else to put it. Kids that are more apt to getting in trouble.
Yeah.
Are in a populace. And so I just hear, and so her experience from before would be like, if this is the way it keeps going, I'm never going to be a teacher. Now that I have this, I love my job. I see my kids, I get to know my kids. Like, it's so I just didn't know if you've culturally seen some of that
it's changed big time as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
Kids will say things to you that they would never, ever, ever say to me. And they threaten other kids. And
Right.
I don't know. I just think we're headed in an odd.
Yeah.
I'm really glad my grandchildren are in the schools they're in because they don't have that.
Right.
And because I'd be really fearful. I'm fearful for the future all the way around.
Right.
When I go to the nursing home, I don't want one of those kids taking care of me. That I had a problem with.
Yeah.
I'm sure they've changed. I'm sure they're not problem kids anymore.
I don't know. Maybe.
Not all of them change, but usually people grow
No.
up and you grow out of that.
Yeah, so
Sometimes.
when you're looking at the big perspective, and we'll get back to getting to know you, but I'm just interested in this part. So when you look at the big perspective of, like, I fear the future.
I do.
I don't know if fear the future. Is that what, from a standpoint of what do you think is coming and what needs to change?
I don't think kids work like they used to. Some kids do. They don't see the importance of it. They don't see that if you do this, it leads to this, it will lead to this. They
Right.
see.
Doesn't matter. I'm just going to make a decision. I don't care about the consequences.
Yeah. And I think we, as parents, they need responsibilities at home. They need responsibilities inside the house, outside the house. And the parents need to be parents, not friends.
Yeah. See, that's my theory. So my theory has been, like, the downward spiral of our workforce, the downward spiral of young people has been, even in a normal home, right? Like, not a split home, not a home where parents aren't involved, because that's a whole nother issue. Like, that issue is, we got to figure that out. But I'm talking about two parents, they're in the home or care, still don't make it that there are any consequences for decisions. Like, they take that away. Like, anytime they get in trouble in school, wasn't their fault. and it must be the teacher.
Yeah.
Anytime that they're coached on a team,
Yeah.
this is the other problem, is anytime they're coached on a team and the coach gets on them, it's always the coach, right? It's never the kid, right? It's never like, hey, you got yelled at. So if you got yelled at, then you need to figure out why. Because, unless the people are just sinister, it's not always the coach's issue. Or if you're in school and you have missing assignments and you're getting an F, it's not always the teacher. It's not always, but as parents, because of what you said, we have switched the culture of, I think parents we exist for one reason, to train them up. At the end of the day, they might not like us. And at the end of the day, they might not be our best friend. At the end of the day, they might not say the best things about you, but Scripture just tells us you cannot not train your kids and not prepare them to be an adult. Like, it doesn't matter if you can do it, doesn't matter if you like to do it. You should train your kids to do things, right? And because I think that's where we're headed. I fear the same thing.
Well, I hope my son doesn't watch this. But Eric, when he worked at Wendy's, and one day he goes, "Oh, it's really nice outside. I think I'll just call in sick and go golfing." So I said, "Well, what were you going to do today?" He goes, "Oh, I was just going to flip burgers." I said, "Well, who's going to flip your burgers if you don't flip them?" "Oh, so-and-so." I said, "Well, what is that person supposed to be doing?" And then we went down the line. He goes, "I got it. I'm going to work." I think you have to. Sure, you want to go golfing and take off, but you have a responsibility. And I don't think sometimes parents are telling their kids, "You got to do this because it's the right thing to do."
Well, and that's a good perspective, Bonita. The whole idea of the repercussions of you not doing your part. I think that's a great thing, because I think, even in people that you work with today, okay, I just didn't do it, right? Like, I just didn't get to it, or I didn't get around to it, or I forgot about it. But every decision that you forget about or don't do has downward repercussions that do affect other people, right? And it's not just you forgot it and you'll get it done next week, or you forgot it and you'll get it done. Not making that decision for that day does have an effect on other people. And I think that's a great perspective, that we probably don't think about that. Like, we probably don't think our decision now has a big effect on somebody else.
Well, in my classroom, I tried to build a family, and you took care of each other. You didn't hurt each other. If you did, I really didn't have discipline problems, because I think if you get to be a family, if people have time to make the classroom a family, it makes a difference. And then as you raise your kids, you do the very same thing. You got to teach them.
So
did I make mistakes? Yeah.
So what are some of the things that we can change, Bonita? So from a parent still raising kids, to a parent that's raising kids, to people that are out of raising kids, but they could go back and help. What would be something that we could effectively do to help reverse this? Or is there just no reversing it? Are we just down a path and we're...
Well, I have, it might seem really simple, but back when I was teaching, we started a group, and it was to help parents. And I made a video with Huntington University for parents to go in, and we'd go in when a person had a baby and talk to them, get to know them, and see if they'd want a mentor to help. Because there's a lot of people out there who don't know what to do. They don't know how to take care of a baby. They don't know how to read a child. They don't know how to... They really don't. You'd think that'd be a real simple thing to do. But when you have 3 little kids, how do you take time for them? How do you get everything done? And I think young people sometimes need mentors. Somebody that's gone through it, made a lot of mistakes, but help. Like, I think of Sally. She'd be a great mentor.
Right.
I'm great. Joe Ellen, same thing.
Right.
If they taught if they had somebody, sometimes you have to call somebody for help. Like I remember calling my mom one time saying, I'm going to hit him. If you don't come get him, I'm going to hit him.
Yeah.
And because he was frustrating me so much. He was little. I mean,
Yeah.
but I had a mother to call. I had a mother that came, I think she broke the speed limit, and she was over and took him for a couple hours, and that was fine. This doesn't sound good either, does it?
No, I mean,
But that's, I think people need other people to help them. And when I was, we did it for a while, and then it kind of just fell apart. I'd like to see it go back. I think, like the church here, if we could get a group of mentors that would help.
Right.
I think that would help in a small, but then it might be passed on. You know what I mean?
Right.
I just think they don't know how to take care of them sometimes.
Because Jennifer started this 4 years ago, praying for schools, right? So
I know. That's what.
So the idea of there's this intangible part where God's going to intervene because we're going to pray for it, right? Like he's going to do things that only he can do. And now we're looking at this, what's the other part? So what's the other part that Life Church, because we're always praying for and dreaming for and asking God, like, where do we need to intervene? Like, we know where you can do only what you can do, but where do we need to be hands and feet? So we've been talking about, ever since I was the principal of a day, I mean, the thing that I came back and said was, it's got to be more than just prayer. Like, we've got to figure out how to do more than praying for and supporting. And so we have been talking about this idea of what would it look like for Life Church to adopt a school, and say, okay, if we can adopt a school, just take a school for example, and we'll keep praying for, the staff, and we'll keep praying for the kids, and let God do the supernatural stuff, because he's always going to do it. Like he's going to protect, he's going to instill, he's going to do, but tangibly, what would that look like? And so I was praying about this idea. Well, what would it be like if we created mentor groups that would adopt families,
like that
and
idea.
would that change? Because when I was in the school, I'm like, I wouldn't do this job. Like the job that the school system has, like, and I love kids. Like I love kids. I want to spend time with kids. Like for New Year's Eve, we went to the skate park, went out and was like West Park skating, and so we're skating out there. And if you can imagine, like West Park opened it up where they would take your kids until 6 a.m. So you checked in, and it cost X amount of dollars, and they'd keep them to 1 or 6. So you can imagine the whole place is full of kids. There's no adults there except for me and Sarah. So we're out there skating around with all these kids, and kids that came up to me and were like, hey, are you the pastor of Life Church? And I go to Life Church. I bet there's probably 7 or 8 kids that came up to me during that time. And I'm thinking, we could have an impact. Like we could do something with these kids that need those things. And I think that's what you're saying. Like, could we create something, even on a small scale? Just say we're going to do one school and we're going to do the best we can. We can't do all schools, but maybe we'll just do one school. We'll put it out there to say, to go with what Jennifer started, like the idea of, if we change a generation of young people, if we can really affect that, we're going to see, stuff down the road and be able to put that together. But that's really what you're saying is that mentorship program could make a big difference.
Could make a difference, I think. And I'm a firm believer in a classroom. If they really want education to go somewhere and children to succeed, you need to put a teacher and an aide in a paraprofessional in every room, because they hear things that the teacher doesn't hear. They comfort, they help, they motivate them. Paraprofessionals are wonderful.
Right.
And they take lunch duty and recess duty, and they need to be in the classroom. I had some of the most wonderful paraprofessionals when I taught, and it was nice. And I think that would help in education to do that. And if we had mentors for parents.
But what I understood was, at least from Lexi, and Warsaw is not a poor town, but they don't have enough money for paras in every room. Right? Is that true?
Yeah, they say that.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's what I've heard. Like she
That's what
said, that they would have to take paras and like move them around because there's
all
not
over the
enough of
place.
them to go into every classroom. Because she said the same thing. If I could just have a para, if I could just have somebody in my room every week, like every day.
I also used a lot of parents. I had parents and grandparents. Grandparents are wonderful. They come in, they do what you want.
Does that happen today?
I don't think so.
Are they allowed to? Like,
Yeah.
are grandparents and parents allowed to go in? Because
Yeah.
I can remember that when I was a kid. Did that happen when you were a kid?
I don't know if I was a kid, but I remember when Trevor and Emma were at Northwest, I would go in.
So you go in and be a helper? And
I'd read with the kids. And
Yeah.
I mean, even when I was at the credit union, I wasn't part of like Rotary, but my boss was. And so I would be a study buddy and I would go in with, I did that for years, go in and work on math or reading or something with kids once a week. And that was super fun. So,
And it's nice to do those gifted or whatever. They get a lot of help. The very low get a lot of help. But these middle children who could actually move along don't get any help.
yeah.
Everything is kind of, and I just think it's nice to have someone in there helping, talking to the kids.
So why do you think your thing dwindled out? Is it a time thing?
It was a
Is
city thing. I did it with the city and something
Okay.
happened and it just didn't. We made a lot of video. They made videos to give out, but it just kind of dwindled. And then, I don't know. I really don't know.
Yeah, because I think that's what's going to have to change. Like, I think we're going to have to figure out. So for 2024, for Life Church, so in 2023, we were like, we need to take ground back. That was kind of our mission. Like, we felt like we had lost ground, like Satan had infiltrated the church during COVID, and lots of things happened where Satan's getting in where he shouldn't. So we spent 2023 saying, listen, this is God's. We're going to take it back, and we're going to own what our responsibility is and take that ground back. 2024 is about organizing an army. And so our whole thought of moving into 2024 is that if you look at Life Church today, there is an army of gifted, talented, spirit-filled, loving people. And I think it's going to be our responsibility to organize that army into action. Because I think today, at least, there are a lot of people that just don't know what to do. Like, I don't know what to do. And then from that, can we help them know what to do, and can we keep them doing it? That's is there a big enough cause? This is what we're going to have to answer. The reason that people quit usually is the cause isn't big enough. You know what I mean? Because if the cause was big enough, if it's life or death, if it's, you know what I mean? Like, if it's going to be the difference between whether we're going to see the suicide rate go down in teenagers, whether it's going to be to see, these kids being able to be mentally stable, if it means people giving their life to Christ, like, you'll give up some time to be able to make that happen. But I think that's the other struggle. Is the cause of Christ, is the cause of kids, is the cause big enough for you to sacrifice? Because I don't know. That's the other problem in our world today is when it gets to be hard, don't you think? It gets to be hard, people are like, I'm out.
I hope not. I think I think it's changing.
Okay.
Again, I think it was like that for a while. Then you talked about COVID. That really did hurt. But you guys did a really good job. I think you did. I think you did.
Yeah.
You may, but now it's time to make changes.
Yeah.
And I think you start with the kids.
Yeah. And I think the other thing we have to be able to do, and this is personally, like, I think personally we have to truly evaluate ourselves and ask ourselves, what are we doing? Like, where are we spending our time? Where are we spending our resources? What are we really doing that's going to be, because this is what I think we should always look at is, am what I'm doing today going to make a difference 100 years from now?
That's what I want.
Not
I
just
agree.
not just tomorrow.
Yeah.
100 years from now, will the decisions that I make today have an impact?
I agree totally. I think about the future and I worry about my grandchildren, but then, and their grandchildren,
Yeah.
and their grandchildren.
Right.
And will it be a good life for them? Will they be okay?
Yeah.
I think it's a big,
See, I'm an optimist. I think we can change the world.
I'm pretty well.
I do. Like, I believe every day that we can make decisions that people will look at 100 years from now and say, because of the single decisions you made, my grandchildren now have a future because you chose to. I mean, isn't every great thing in history started by somebody making a single decision, by a group of people making a single decision, by a mass of people saying we're going to stand up? Every moment that you look back in history started because someone or a group of people said, I might never see it in my generation. I might not. Like, I might not see any of the decisions I make today. Like, I think about that for Life Church. I want to make decisions for Life Church today that Life Church will be far better off when I'm gone. You know, I know that I'm not going to see all of the fruit, you know, of what God's doing. But if we can make a decision today that 100 years from now, you know, it can make a difference. And I think that's what we're just going to have to decide. Are we going to make some of those hard, disciplined decisions to say, this is going to cost me something, but in 100 years from now, there's going to be a generation, like you're going to write history.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I like that.
I'm an optimist that way. Like, I think that's
I agree. I'm really positive about, but I worry. But I think if things are done, this church is amazing to me, and what you guys do.
what
And
you guys do.
What you guys do.
What the church does. I think that's the key.
Yeah,
like,
what the church does.
Yeah, I mean, the
it's amazing.
The people of Life Church, and that's where I said I think we have a great group of people who are super inspired to figure out, okay, we got to get this right. Like, we got to start making some big decisions.
Have interesting people in this church.
That's a good way to look at it. Some interesting people.
They are interesting.
Yeah, right. Very, very diverse.
Your podcast, I thought, I'd like to talk to her. Just sit down and talk to her.
Yeah.
Or that was an interesting thing he said.
Well,
yeah.
I can get you their contact information. So
The lady that is a counselor, is one lady, I thought, I need to talk to her.
Mary Clark?
Yeah. I thought, she's a lady I need to talk to.
yeah, for sure. Yeah.
She seemed really put together.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I want to talk a little bit about how you and Byron came to Life Church. So he started working out at Champs, is that correct? Yeah. So he worked out, I think Rayanne told me, a year or so, and kept saying that my wife needs to come. My wife needs to come. So what made you? Not really that you, but I don't. Yeah.
So explain that, because I don't.
I don't really know. I don't really know why he said you needed to come.
He thinks I need to
to
exercise.
working. To working out. Okay,
He
got
thinks
it.
I need to work out.
Right.
He's what's the word?
He's a workout fanatic. He's a fanatic.
That's the word. And he drives me nutty. And he goes, you'd really like this Rayanne. She's really nice. So, okay, I'll go. I really like Rayanne. He goes, gee, she'll do anything she tells you to do. I would tell you the same thing, and you wouldn't do it.
Right.
She's nicer about it.
Way to go, Rayanne.
And it's easy. I've been working out, and I never gotten hurt. I worked out with one trainer one time, and I was doing these things. You do this, and I passed out.
No, you didn't.
I did. He picked me,
No.
Were you holding your breath or something?
I don't know what happened. He picked me back up. Didn't just let me. He picked me back up, and I went like this and passed out again.
Oh no.
The nut picked me back up and put me back up there again, and I passed out again. They had the EMS, the fire department, and the police out there. They had yellow going all the way around me.
Like a crime scene.
And she's never done that.
Yeah. But Byron's worked out at Champs a long time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I can remember. Yeah, coming in, and because Sherry and Byron were close, like she would talk to him all the time, and
Yeah.
because he's kind of a, a phenomenon when you watch him. Like, you usually don't see a guy his age push and
Well,
be
he
as
does.
committed. Like, he's really committed to.
I know.
And he doesn't just do light stuff. I mean, he was doing CrossFit stuff back then. And I'm like, that's super
He
impressive.
gets hurt, and I have to put up with him.
So is that back to what Jennifer said, so is coming to Champs what led to coming to Life Church?
Yep.
Really?
That morning group that I
Your Golden
exercise.
Girls?
Our what?
Isn't Golden Girls or Golden Beauties? Golden Beauties.
You guys have a name?
I guess.
Sally talked about it.
The oldies.
Oh, I can't remember her name.
Golden something.
But I don't even know. They've changed it several times.
Oh, okay.
But yeah. And, well, we exercise and then we have a Bible study. And then we're going to start going to nursing homes and playing cards with the people. And then we've been helping with the food ministry. And
And you do that every week, though.
well, about every other week.
Every other week. So,
But-
yeah, they make food.
Yeah. And then, well, we just talked. Well, that didn't happen until late this year. I would come and exercise with the people, and I got stronger, better, and they're very encouraging. And so I really liked it. And then I said, we're going to start going to church there. I love coming to church here. You are good. You're good to listen to. You really are. Well, I was telling Jenny one time, when we went to another church, I did everything there that had to do with children. You name it, I did it. But we never talked about God at home. We never talked about the sermons. We never talked about. We didn't talk about it. We went to church. We went home.
Right.
That was
The extent of it.
Yeah. Even with our, what you learned today in church, we would do that. But we really didn't talk about God to our children like we should have. And then we had a problem there, and so with our oldest son, so we left. And I don't know where this was going.
No, we're just trying, like, how did you end up at Life? And so
But,
it was
yeah.
through the exercise group.
Well, when we came here, we'd go home. All the way home, we'd talk about what you talked about, and even during the week. That never happened before when we were younger. And maybe it's just at our age, and we had time together
Right.
without kids around or whatever.
Right.
But yeah, so we came here, and we were church hopping, and we're settled.
Yeah.
So-
You found a home.
We found a home.
Yeah, we're glad
And our
you
friends.
found a home.
And our
there with us.
friends. I really have. I could be emotional about this. My friends mean a lot to me, and they are we take care of each other, and we plan things together. Oh, we're playing euchre too.
Okay. I was going to ask you what your card games were that you liked,
Oh, I like
because I love
euchre.
cards.
Oh, I love to play euchre, and I love to play gin rummy. I used
Okay.
to play my mom when I
Okay.
was in the nursing home. I'd go in every day and play about 2 hours with her.
Wow.
I love to play. I like to strategize. But yeah, and we used to play hearts, but I don't remember how to play it
Oh,
anymore.
I love hearts. Are you a card player, Jennifer?
Like, go fish.
Go fish.
I am surprised. Like, the kids that come over, because we're game players, so all of my kids play cards. We all like board games. So now, like, when Sarah's kids' friends come over, I'll be like, "You want to play this? You want to play?" They're like, "Play what?" Like, they don't know how to play cards. Like, they've never played cards, or I'm surprised. I thought everybody played cards.
Oh, if you go in Walmart and you listen to parents, they go, "Oh, that the kids will want a game," and then go, "Oh, that's too expensive." Games are expensive.
They are.
But what they give you and playing with your kids is so much more.
Right.
Because,
right.
well, we played a game this weekend. We went up to Michigan to be with our oldest son and his family. And I got this game, it's called Race Horses. And it's a board, and it's got all these horses that you move. And you have to, it's got dice and cards with it, and you have to scratch some of the horses so they can't win.
Yeah.
And then they have And then you have to roll the dice, and they have to move. If it's number 6, they move up one, and number 2 only has to go twice because of the odds and everything.
Right.
So it's really fun.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh! You gave each one of the. This doesn't sound good either. We gave each kid a roll of dimes, and that was their.
Why is that bad?
We're really gambling. And it was funny because it's a fun game. You should look it up.
Right.
Well, Joellen was telling me about it. So while I was sitting down there in Champs downstairs, I just did Amazon and got 2 games, one for my one family and one for my other family.
There you go. You got them.
We like games.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Yeah. I just don't think that's as much anymore. I don't think families play games anymore as much. Nick, are you guys game players?
We try to be. The kids are.
So if you would pick a game, what's your favorite?
We play a card game called 5 Crowns.
Huh.
I've already played that.
Yeah.
You've played 5 Crown?
Play
I've never done.
seven, where you take your 7s and put them out and play that.
What about Ticket to Ride or Catan or...
They my
Play those.
great.
Huh?
I can't get them to play those.
Oh, Ticket to Ride and
Yeah.
Catan, those things. Monopoly.
I love Monopoly.
Do you like any of those? Jennifer's like,
Byron
I'm
loves-
out.
I'm not the biggest game player. I do play some, but that's not my. I'll watch.
I've gotten Byron to play because his
Yeah.
first year we were married. I noticed that his family didn't have any games, so for Christmas I bought all these games.
Yeah.
They don't play games. So I spent a fortune. They did. So I took them home with me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, we like outside. We play pickleball and
Okay.
we play anything that. We played horseshoes all my life. So
Are you good at it?
I used to be okay.
Okay.
My brother was the world champion.
What?
Yeah.
World champion horseshoe player? Holy
My mom was
crap.
the state champion like 18 times.
Oh
Wow.
my.
Yeah, I was the first world champion, girl world champion. I wasn't any good.
Well, obviously you were. You're the girl world champion.
It was the first one. Very few were in it, and I wasn't very good. My brother was really good. He could hit 80 to 90.
Wow.
Just tossing a shoe 80 to 90% of the time.
Yeah.
Well, that's where we spent most of our childhood.
Well,
And
here's a question. So one of the things that you brought up was, because I see this in older generations, they have very close-knit friends that they spend a significant amount of time with that mean a ton. Like they'll get together, Sherry's mom used to have this group called the Whiners, and so there was this group of ladies, and seriously, they would get together all the time. They'd play games, they would spend time together. And I remember at Diana's funeral, I mean, the people that talked the most, the people that were invested the most were the Whiners, like the people that, had been with them, spent time, did things outside of, did things together, spent relational time. I think, again, if you look at generationally, that doesn't exist anymore. There's lots of isolation, where people aren't spending a lot of time with people in that realm, where they have a group of friends that they get together with on a regular basis. Like, I don't know, Jennifer, what do you think? Do you think that?
Oh, I think it's for sure true. I mean, my parents did growing up. I mean, they would go friend's house and they played cards and stuff like that, and we'd go over there with them. But yeah, Eric and I don't do that.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's just life is busier now than it used to be, but yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. My parents had like 12 couples that they got together with. They played horseshoes all day. Then they played cards, and they'd eat, and they'd take care of each other.
Right.
And my brothers and I are kind of the same way. I like to be with people.
Right.
And I like different age people. I
Yeah.
don't like just the same age. Because I think you learn a lot from different ages. But yeah, I don't see it happening anymore. You don't even know your neighbor. You
Right.
don't even do, you know. Bill and I would walk over. We'd be out in the backyard, and there they came. So
Yeah.
the other neighbors, and you were eating something, they'd sit down and eat with you.
Right.
You don't do that anymore.
Yeah,
That's-
why
that's
though?
sad.
Why do you think that is? Like, Jennifer, why do you think it is? Nick, I'm curious because, why is it that people don't spend time with other groups of people anymore? Nick?
Do you know why?
like my age, I think the biggest thing is, like, my kids are so busy that by the time we get a day off, we just want to sit home and chill out.
So lifestyle, you would just say your lifestyle isn't conducive to, or people's lifestyle of spending a day on a Saturday playing horseshoes and cards
Yeah.
with a group of friends.
Yeah.
Jennifer?
Well, like talking about a Saturday, it's like we own a business. So Eric's doing things there. Sometimes I'm doing things here.
Yeah.
It's just like there's just so much to get done. There's not enough time to do it, And so not that we don't do things with people, but yeah, even talking about my neighbors, it's like, yeah, I don't talk to any of my neighbors.
We also don't live with family. I mean, live near family. Like my kids are in South Carolina and Michigan. And if they were home, we'd have all their friends over. Because when they do come home, all the friends come over and we have fun. But everybody's spread out.
Yeah,
I think it's nice, kind of sad.
Yeah, when we moved over to the Urbana house, there were some older. I got in trouble last time. I say older ladies, but
Yeah, well.
how else do you describe somebody that's older than me? Is there another way to describe somebody?
Someone who's older than me.
Okay. The ladies,
Yeah, somebody
older than
that's
me.
older than me.
That's a good one.
Yeah, I mean, they made an effort to come to our house, to bring us a welcoming, to sit on the front porch and talk to
That's nice.
the neighbors that are there that drive by. Like Sarah and I would be sitting out on the porch. They would come up. We sat out on the porch and talked for hours. Like I think people want it. Like I think that it's out there and that it's good, but yeah, maybe it's just there is no time left. There is no.
Well, and me, it's like I don't go somewhere if I'm not invited. And so I'll go talk to someone, but I want you to invite me to your home. Or if my one neighbor moved that we were really close to. And so sometimes, Teresa was on her deck, I might walk down there. Or sometimes she'd walk up. But you don't know what she's doing, if she's on the phone or if sometimes people are doing something. And then if you go down there, you're interrupting what they had planned that they were trying to get accomplished. So
Maybe that would be good, though.
but sometimes it is, but yeah, I'm just always wanting, I need to be invited. I just don't welcome myself into situations usually. So.
Yeah, I know mine is I'm with people all the time. Like I talk to people all day long, most of the week, lots of meetings. And so part of me is there is a little part of my life that would like to not entertain, you know what I mean? Like not talk to people. So that's I'll have to think about that because I don't know that I'm good at it.
I like an hour to myself.
Yeah.
I could be with people but I need about an hour out of the day to just be by myself. That nobody's talking to me.
Yeah. I'll just have to say for me personally, this is what I think it boils down to. We choose to live such a busy lifestyle that and that's a choice. Like that for sure is my own choice to choose to live so busy that when you do get a day, you use that day to recover and you because anytime that you have downtime, like if I have more than a day of nothing's going on, I'm like, we gotta go do something. I'm gonna go nutty, or if you have every night of the week that you're home, you're like, we need to do something but if it's just one more night to add to the other 5 that you're already doing something, it tends to be. So I'm gonna say for myself, the reason it's not happening is because I'm not intentional enough to rearrange a schedule to make it something I value. Because I would assume that if I valued it enough, I'd probably do it. But I just love that. I think it's really cool to see culturally people getting together. And again, when you talked emotionally, out of all the things that you've said, the thing that made you emotional the most is your friends.
Yeah.
Like the people that you spend all of your time with.
Because we're thinking, since my mom passed away, Byron will never retire. So we'll have a house here, but we'll also have one in South Carolina. I have so many friends. I mean, I really am blessed. I mean, I have fun. I got the group here. I got my Flint Springs teachers, my Andrews teachers, my book club.
Yeah.
My exercise group. It's just, I don't want to lose that. Even though I could be with my kids, I want to do that plus have this.
Right.
So we're working it out.
Yeah.
Right.
So you said you have a house. So you told me earlier that you were going to be selling your house.
Yep.
And you're going to downsize.
Yeah.
And then you have a house in South
Now we
Carolina.
have to get a house down there too.
So how are you gonna live down there 3 months or 4 months of the year, or you don't know? You're just gonna have a house that you can run away to.
I know that Byron could do his work there too. And here, he just really likes his clients. He
Yeah.
really, they're like children to him. I feel like he's just, and he likes solving their problems, and he likes. So I don't think he'll ever really retire, and so, but I like to do everything. He's very calm, and we're totally different.
You and Byron?
Oh, we're like night and day. There's not one thing we don't eat the same things. We don't sleep the way. I like to stay up really late. He likes to go to bed early. It's just he's
They say
very
opposites attract, so
he's
there you
very
go.
quiet. I want him to get more. And he's gonna like this too. I want him to get more involved here. You know, like I know there's some guys that have nights where guys. I want him to do that. He is unusual for. Well, Sally and we've been talking. The guys don't always make a lot of friends. He has a couple,
Right.
and they happen to be ministers at other churches.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and he gets, he really likes talking to them. I said, you need to meet some people here. But I really would like to see him do that. And that would help, I just think the more people you know and you're friends with and you care about, it's important.
And do you think that's, so I've noticed that too. So the women tend to have bigger friend groups than men. Is that because they care more about it? Is that because, why do you think that is? Why is it that men have very few friends?
Well, you don't talk very much. Men don't talk very much. You don't ask the right questions. I'll ask Byron some things. He goes, well, I didn't ask him about that. I go, why not? Well, it's none of my business. I said, but you don't get to know the person unless you ask them. And I ask, I'll say, it may not be in my business, but
Yeah.
And to take time out from work, the family. Like he doesn't go get a beer with anybody.
Yeah.
And I wish he would.
Right. Right.
I think it'd be good for him.
Yeah, but I do think that's also unusual, because if you have a family, right, and he's working 70 hours, there's a lot of times that wives aren't encouraging their husbands to go have a beer with somebody.
But I think he needs to.
No, I'm not disagreeing. I say in all of every one of my marriage counselings, I say this, like, listen, if you guys want to be successful long term, you both need a hobby, and you both need to be okay when that person goes and does their hobby, because there is something about a hobby with other people that refreshes the soul. So I said, if you want this to last, like we can go through, like you need to learn the love languages, you need to love well, you need to communicate well, you need to do all of that. But if you don't have something that then you can go to refresh yourself, whether it's hunting with a group of people, whether it's going out and having a beer, whether it's going over and working on a truck with somebody, like if it's going out, whatever, the hiking with somebody, whatever that is, you need it, and you need to be okay with it. But I don't think that's always the case anymore.
Yeah. He does he had a running group that they ran a bunch of marathons and different things with.
Right.
But I agree. I think if you want, I agree with that totally. I have a Fred they don't do anything not together. They're always together. That'd get old.
Well, I just don't think, I know there are a lot of people like, my wife's my best friend, which is true. Like your wife can be your best friend, but I'm just saying you need something outside of this for multiple different reasons. One is because you need an avenue for relationships. You need an avenue to be able to, let loose. You need an avenue to be able to have something that, again, there's just things that refresh your soul. And I think that if you do that, when you come back together, you're way better.
Yeah.
than you were if you're just together all the
Yeah.
time.
Go to a basketball game together. Go to the Pacers game. Do something.
Right. Something outside of that.
Yeah. But yeah.
Yep. So I guess we're almost done, but I'm just kind of
So look at that. It's 49 minutes already.
I have more questions to ask
Yeah,
you,
so
but
that-
we're just going
sorry.
to be like, no, I just want to talk a little bit about Jesus here. You
Yeah.
know, it's like your faith journey. You know, how did you come to accept Jesus? Did you, as a child, did you go to church? Was it later in life? What did that look like?
When my parents sent us to church, and they didn't go. My dad believed that if you're outside, you're with God.
Oh,
And
wow.
that's the way he believed. And so they sent us to church. And then when you go to college and you get away from everything. Byron and I got married, and we decided we wanted God in our lives, then go to church and all that. But I was telling, I never had, when you talked about that God spoke to you, said, go to Huntington. I told Joella one day, I said, I've never had that kind of moment. I believe in God. I pray to God. But I've never had that moment where they went, it was like, boom, boom. And she said, well, you're not listening. She said, why do you think you're here at Champs? Why do you think you got into with Rayanne and why you're with us? That was your moment.
Right.
She goes, you need to listen better.
Yeah.
And it's true. And that, yeah. So
So so you didn't grow up with this. You guys found it later on. So when you and Byron were married and
and we were baptized in the other church, and yeah.
So your kids that are in Michigan and South, so you just have two? I didn't even catch that. You have two kids?
I have two boys.
Okay.
And
What do they do?
one's a teacher.
Okay.
He teaches English, and his wife is a dissemistrist.
A what?
A dissemistress. She makes. She's really good.
Did you know what that
I
is?
do not.
I was going to say, I was looking at you like, yeah.
It's a cancer. She plans cancer treatments.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
She does
wow.
all the
Wow.
planning of where everything hits. And then I have a son in South Carolina, and he's a food rep, and his wife is a teacher. So
Wow.
and,
They wanted to marry somebody like mom.
no,
How many grandkids do you have then?
I have four. I have two grandchildren in Michigan, and two. And I've got three grandboys and one granddaughter.
How often do you see them?
All the time.
Okay.
Next week I fly down to South Carolina, and they asked me to just stay the month because I have to go back down in February, but I can't do that. I've got too many obligations. But we've been up to Michigan twice now in the last 2 weeks, and then Friday I'm going to go so I can see my second one play basketball. I travel a lot to see them. I was made to be a grandma. I was. I raised my kids because I was very firm, and we've talked about that all this weekend. Adam says, I wish you'd just hit us instead of talk. You talked us to death. But
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out that stage of my life because I have 3, 4, 5, 6 grandkids now.
Oh.
And so I'm trying to figure out, like, how am I going to be as a grandpa? Because I like the idea of traveling all around and watching games. Like, I hear these stories of, like, oh, yeah, every night of the week I'm going to watch my little 5-year-old play mini basketball. I'm like,
yeah,
I can't.
a bit much.
I am thinking if that's going to be my life with 8 kids and all of their kids, I might not be that grandpa.
Well,
I don't know if that I'm going to be the traveling grandpa to every single thing.
you can't beat everything.
Yeah.
I can't be. But when I'm with them, I'm with them. We play. I'm so worn out after I'm with my grandchildren. They forget that I'm 70-some years old. And, well, one time we were with Cannon. He goes, okay, Grandma, I'm going to throw the football to you. I want you to go this way, then I want you to go that way, then I want you to head that way.
Oh, wow.
And I will, when you get there, you're going to catch it.
Okay.
And I go, so I have to go that way? Why can't I just go back there? Nope, you got to go this way. I did.
That is funny.
I did. Byron and I play pickleball with them. Like Stone will play against Byron and me, and he'll beat us. And Cannon will play. They all beat us.
Yeah.
They're athletic and they're fun. They're fun kids.
Yeah.
They're just. Yeah, I was made to be a grandma.
Yeah.
Could have had more. I should have had more kids. Well, see, I wish I had more kids. And then I'd have more grandchildren.
Yeah.
More places to travel from.
Well, let's end it with this. So if you could, oh, sorry, Jennifer, do you have something?
No, when you're done.
If you could give advice, so knowing everything that you know, for young women, young married women, if you could give them some advice to now, what would be one thing that you would say, focus on, think through, process, make sure this is important? Any wisdom that you would give to young women?
To young women? Stay in shape. Find something you love to do as a job, not just any job, but job. Raise your children as their parent, not their friend. Have them in church. Have fun in life. Do fun things.
Yeah, that's good. I like the end one. Have fun in life. Yeah.
Yeah, it's too short.
Okay.
It is.
Yep. So someone knew that you were going to be on here, so we got this really sweet email, so I wanted to share it with you. I'll probably cry because you're probably going to cry too, but I can read through my tears. But Bonita is such a great role model because she has shown me what it means to serve selfishly. She's a great example to those around her, and she doesn't just sit on the sidelines. She gets into circles. She gets out and she drives action. She makes us all better people with the love and support she gives us. Plus, her sense of humor is the best. She is one of my living legacy people.
Aww.
Who is that from?
Rayanne.
I feel like she thinks I'm her grandma.
Yeah.
She's been a lot to me.
Well, I think the reality is what you're seeing is that the choices that you've made in life have left an imprint on the lives of other people.
I hope so. I get a lot of emails and texts and Facebook with students I had in the past.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes you feel good. Makes you feel like you did something right.
Yeah, because a lot of times, sometimes we don't feel like we have a purpose. And we have more of an impact on people than we realize we do.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Well, she's had an impact on me.
Yeah.
She really has. We've had some really good talks and laughs.
Yep.
Yeah.
Really.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's awesome.
Okay, Jennifer, send us out.
All right. So if you want to be part of our podcast group, you can text the word podcast to 260-408-8383. Let us know if you want to be on the podcast or if you have a great person you want us to interview or any thoughts. We would love to hear about it and how we can make the podcast even better.
Yeah, and don't forget, so you guys that are listening and or watching, when this comes out on our Facebook, make sure that you share, like, or comment. Sharing helps us get out to other people's timelines, more people to be able to see Bonita and be able to listen to the wisdom that she's had this week. And the other thing that you can do, another reason we do this podcast, are you guys a first or second service?
First.
So if you come to the first service, make sure that you come up, see Bonita, and say hi, get to know her. And again, just glean some wisdom, from somebody that has been there and done that. And so I just want to say, again, I didn't know you at all, but I have heard, and I think this is cool. Like, it's neat when the things that you do have had a ripple effect, and so when other people can say, like, this about you, and then to be able to have the privilege to sit down and be able to listen to your story and be able to hear your heart and And again, walk away with wisdom. Like, I think a lot of the things you said today are things that I'm going to take to heart, and things that I need to process, and things that do give me hope, right? Like, give me hope for the future, that we can change things and it can be different, and there can be. So I thank you for taking time. Thanks you for being on. And
This was fun.
yeah.
I won't watch it. But I know what's fun talking to you guys.
So thanks everybody for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you guys again next week.
Bye.
Good job. That was awesome.